Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and what you're looking at here is kind of what I think we all kind of hope the theme of 2022 is going to be, and that is if we get some sort of resolution, hopefully on the positive side with this SEC Ripple lawsuit, that it would be the biggest FOMO ever, settlement / relisting. That's the name of the game, folks, okay? Now, I want to show you this, and also in this video, I'm going to show you until we get our level playing field. Now we're going to up the game. We're going to really start to drill down and target. Okay, we've talked about it a little bit. Any of the politicians that are anti-crypto and pro Gary Gensler and what he's doing, we're going to target them. We're going to vote them out. We're also going to do some targeted. You know, a lot of people listening to my voice don't realize it, but there's no reason in the world why we can't file Freedom of Information Act requests. There's no reason in the world that we can't file complaints and do it in mass until they have to pay attention to us. So Gary Gensler wants to ignore the 60,000 plus XRP holders. Okay, that's fine. Keep ignoring us. Will your Inspector General at the SEC, will he ignore us? We're going to find out. Because if they're going to ignore us, then we're going to put the plan in motion. So pay attention. Here we go. Dark Defender had put this out. Hi there, all. I wish you a wonderful and prosperous new year, especially for the ones who believe in XRP. Not much change since week one. Therefore, I keep the same support and resistance levels in 2022. With or without the settlement, XRP will be hitting our midterm targets. Let's see what his midterm targets are. I think these are them. Breaks $1.75, targets 264, 724, 2724. With the third wave, 1333 with the fifth wave. So he's been saying $13 for a while. Does not back down from it. I like it. Now I like this tweet. I've always felt like the Bitcoin, at a minimum, the Bitcoin thing was a ruse. And I've always felt like the Ethereum proof of work thing was a ruse too. There's no reason under the sun that all these Ethereum people should have been given all this time to issue a second security, Ethereum 2.0, and nobody does anything about it. I've been making them aware of it. Now, this makes sense. The absolute dominance of Bitcoin began on the 4th of January, 2008, and its control will begin to slacken, fade, and decline starting from the same date of its inception to begin the era of XRP. I like that, the era of XRP. I believe the era of XRP starts in 2022. I really do. Okay, now this was going around. Stefan Huber had put this out. Ethereum 2.0 this is an article from back in right before the lawsuit was dropped on Ripple. Ethereum 2.0 is an unexploded regulatory bomb. I would add to that, I would say Ethereum 2.0 is an unexploded regulatory dirty bomb, is what I think. And I said, uh-oh, the media doesn't, all right. Anyway, here's the article, and if you go down here to this part, it's kind of interesting. It says, under Ethereum 2.0's proof of stake model, users hoping to become validators must stake Ethereum in order to do so, meaning there's a clear investment of money. There's a reasonable expectation of profits derived from the efforts of others. We've shown you the common enterprise, and I'll show you, actually, here's a quote out of it. If the SEC erroneously considered Ethereum sufficient, they didn't erroneously consider Ethereum anything. This was a plan. Bill Hinman was involved in it. Jay Clayton was involved in it. And this thing stinks and always has stunk and is not going to stop stinking. So no, they didn't make a mistake. This was by design. They wanted to get Ethereum and Bitcoin out from under securities laws. But it says if they erroneously considered Ethereum sufficiently decentralized, the characteristics of Ethereum 2.0 provide the SEC with ample opportunity to right that wrong. Are you listening, Gary? Well, if you're listening, Gary Gensler, listen to this, because I have my first 22 whistleblower alert.
Just give an overview of what that looks like, instead of extending the proof of work chain out years into the future and then merging when we've done everything else. We brought the timeline for moving to proof of stake forward dramatically. So it's the next thing we're going to do before we do data sharding. And we take the Ethereum 1 layer and we call it an execution layer. We continue with the beacon chain, we call it a consensus layer, and we merge the two together. And then we add data sharding at the consensus layer, and the whole thing is then Ethereum. Well, I still call it Ethereum 2, so that term is somewhat going out of fashion. So the take-home message is we've moved the move to proof of stake much earlier in the roadmap.
How many times did you send material to the SEC?
May 2000, October 2001, October, November, and December 2005, then again June 2007, and finally April 2008. So 5 separate SEC submissions.
And in spite of all of the things that you did, it still ended up in disaster.
That's right. They didn't do anything. Now, this is an interesting video right here. This guy is apparently Vinay Gupta, who helped Ethereum in the early days. Now, here's what I think is going on here. Apparently, this was about 6 months ago. This guy right here, I believe, is doing a little bit of behind covering. I think that he, as well as probably a lot of people, have seen all of the things that we've been uncovering about Ethereum and all the things that we are bringing to light. I think this guy is in butt covering mode. Listen to this.
Legal advice at the Dow crisis. So I'm like, okay, I don't really understand what just happened there, but I have a bad feeling about this. And I sat down with some lawyers in London, and they said, Vinay, have you heard of a thing called securities fraud? And I'm like, pardon? They're like, you're basically acting as one of the front men for something that has just released an unlicensed security to people, including the American public. You kind of have two choices here. You could, at least you weren't there for the crowd sale, right? You joined after the crowd sale was over. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that will help, but you can't be in a position where you're going to massively profit from this at the same time as you're selling it to people.
Of course, the conflict of interest.
Conflict of interest, right? So you can either divest or you can move to a jurisdiction without an extradition treaty. And I'm like, you what? That's going to cost me tens of millions of dollars. These are your choices. So I divested really early on in the process. And that decision directly leads to Ethereum. Right. Because, I was probably the only person in that game, other than people like Lubin who had come out of the financial services industry, that even understood that what we were doing might be of interest to regulators. Right. And the people that were really old school financial services types were like, new financial products always break the law. And as long as it doesn't turn out to be fraud, what happens is that the regulators will come along and grandfather in like, okay, fine, we've got to update the law.
Right. It's good enough for the rest of the people. It's valuable.
They were always used to taking that risk, because it turns out in financial services, all of the money is made doing things which are currently illegal. And then you either go to jail or the regulators say, actually, that wasn't fraudulent and we need to update the regulations because that's just business.
Right.
But I looked at the situation and was just like, I've seen several rounds of the crypto wars. We've lost every round. I'm not going to stick my neck out on that chopping block this time, not even for tens of millions of dollars. And with hindsight, was that the right thing to do? Probably not.
Well, at least financially, with Ethereum's.
But we'll see what happens after the SEC works its way through the ICO crowds.
Now, and this is an important point here, folks. We've heard Joseph Lubin many times say that JP Morgan was there from the very beginning, even before they released the Ethereum network, okay? He's said that. I've got him on video at least 2 or 3 times saying that. So the question is this. Are you telling me that the guys that released Ethereum did not know? Are you telling me that the SEC, because Joseph Lubin's also said, well, we came along when the regulators weren't paying attention. No. If JP Morgan was there and Goldman Sachs had programmers there, plenty of people knew exactly what was going on. And so that right there alone shows you that the regulators, they knew early on. Plus, we also know, if you remember, that Joseph Grunfest was in conversations with Stephen Narioff, who was helping them to do the pre-sale. So it wasn't done before when regulators just weren't paying attention. They were paying attention. Grunfest was literally on the phone with the SEC before they did this. And the reason I'll bet you money that he was on the phone with them is partially because of the connections that came with JP Morgan being there. So they can't look at this and say, oh, no, this was just a new technology and the regulators weren't paying attention. That is a crock, and everybody knows it. We've got the video to prove it. Now, I believe that when this is all said and done, because I don't think they ever, when they drop, look, there's two things that they did wrong here, folks. Learn this lesson, you arrogant sons of you-know-what. They made two major mistakes. Well, about three or four. They didn't count on John Deaton. They didn't count on social media, and they did two things that they didn't have to do. First, they went after Ripple. The SEC could have given Ethereum that free pass. They didn't have to go after Ripple. It wasn't enough that Ethereum got the free pass. They had to actually go after Ripple. Okay? Second problem that they have is that they had to go out there and gloat. I remember Andrew Keys, the second the lawsuit dropped on Ripple, he tweets out XRP is a security, period. I remember Joseph Lubin was gloating on stage. They didn't he's bragging about the Ethereum free pass, and he says, well, and they didn't say the same thing about things like tokens like the Ripple token, and he's gloating about it. Then I remember when Vitalik Buterin made a comment on Twitter about XRP being a shitcoin. They couldn't just take their free pass. They had to gloat. They had to gloat when they knew that they were getting a free pass and they knew it was all bull. Let this be a lesson, kids, because you sometimes when you piss in the wrong person's Cheerios, you can light a fire, and that's what they did through their gloating and their comments and their tweets. They lit a fire, and the people out here knew something didn't smell right. And there you have it. And we're not done yet. We're just getting started. It's 2022. Oh, speaking of some people who ought to answer some questions, here's Jerry Brito. TAIG is on this like white on rice, okay? He says, Jerry, also, Melanie Lubin spoke with Jay Clayton the same as this meeting. Do you have any insights to what they discussed? So what this is Gary Gensler, and he's in a meeting. This is the, let me see if I can, this was the Maryland Securities Chief, Melanie Lubin. Happens to have Joseph Lubin's last name. And this is a video where Gary Gensler is saying that Ethereum's a security. And it says, guess who Jay Clayton spoke with the same day as this meeting took place? Jay Clayton's meeting with Melanie Lubin the same day that Gary Gensler is saying that in front of her. Okay? So, and then Jerry Brito, who TAIG is pointing out. And remember who Jerry Brito is. He's the guy that runs, I believe it's Coin Center, okay? Coin Center is supposed to be this industry representative for crypto. But it's really, in my opinion, nothing but an industry representative for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And Jerry Brito is one of those guys that holds himself out like this industry representative. He's running this organization. But these guys haven't done anything to defend anything. I haven't seen them talk about much at all except defending Bitcoin and Ethereum and the legalities there. Now, so then we've got this. Tom Emmer had done a thread and he referenced Web3. TAIG comes in and says, Representative Emmer, I'm not sure if you've heard, but Web3 is Ethereum, and Ethereum is linked to the biggest financial scam in history. You can start here. And he gives him a tweet. Says, I think it's very important to point out that Jay Clayton, a public official, lied to the very public he swore an oath to protect. He said he didn't know any of the companies he works for now while in government. That's 100% lie. This is when he joined Apollo Global after he left the SEC. This is October 23rd, 2017, where he's meeting with Apollo Global. And then he went in front of CNBC and said that he didn't know any of these companies while he was at the SEC. Now, this is an excellent, I can't stress this enough, this is an excellent point made by TAIG. This is one of those obvious things that's not focused on enough. The meetings between Jay Clayton and Ripple were displayed on his public calendar. Jay Clayton's meetings with Ethereum were not. You have to ask yourself why. And also, where's that Bill Hinman public calendar? But don't you worry, we're going to get to that, okay? Because there are so many things that they're hiding from the public. These people worked for, they're working for the taxpayer. They do not have the right to hide who they were meeting with as public officials. So, Brad Combs with Digital Perspectives gave me an excellent idea. This video, I won't play the video right now, but Brad Combs had the idea that he was going to contact the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Okay, he filled out their form, and it dawned on me when I saw this, and he's letting them know about the Ethereum free pass. But it's not just that the SEC did something shady here with the Ethereum free pass. It's also some of the extremely shady things that Ethereum did in the pre-sale, like helping to disguise whale purchases. Those are Joseph Lubin's words, not mine. We need to make these people all aware of all of it. So what I did when I saw Brad Combs' video here's the first place we can go, folks. All you got to do is go type in Office of Inspector General for the SEC. The Office of the Inspector General is an independent office within the SEC that conducts, supervises, and coordinates audits and investigations of the programs and operations of the SEC. The mission of the Office of Inspector General is to promote the integrity, efficiency, and effectiveness of the critical programs and operations of the SEC. When you get to his page, it says submit a complaint right here. It's even got a toll-free phone number that you can call right there. Okay, so I want to show you. I got to the place in the form. It even has a drop down when you start filling out the form. Misuse of government benefits, equipment, and resources. Or how about this one? Bribes, kickbacks, and gratuities. Receipt or solicitation by an SEC employee. False statements. Fraud by an SEC contractor or consultant. It's got a whole list. Whistleblower retaliation. First, they got to respond to a whistleblower complaint. So everybody listening to my voice can go and fill this out. Here's what else you can fill out: Freedom of Information Act requests. Okay, FOIA.gov is where you go, and when you get there, you go to create a request at the top. I'll make sure you saw that right there. It's at the very top of the page, create a request. Then you just do a little drop down and choose SEC. And then this is how you get your Freedom of Information request sent. Okay, it gives you all of the people that you can send this. These are the email addresses, phone numbers. It's got everything. So let them know. File a Freedom of Information Act request for documents like the Hinman public calendar, I don't know what all the different things, but why not ask? We'd like to see the 63 emails that went back and forth before Bill Hinman gave the speech to giving Ethereum the free pass. We'd like to see those 63 emails. If these people, these are public officials, folks, if they're sending emails from the SEC.gov email addresses, I don't see why we shouldn't be able to see those emails. These people were being paid by the taxpayers. Send as many Freedom of Information requests as you want to. We want the Bill Hinman public calendar. Or how about Valerie Chapinnik's calendar? I know that she was in a lot of those meetings, and she's there at the SEC now. There's all kinds of Freedom of Information requests we can send in. Also, Procoin News tweeted this. In 2022, we'll have an ongoing series where we show you every anti-crypto member of Congress so you can vote them out. Time to go. It's time to put them out to pasture. If you don't understand crypto, or you just want to say crypto's for money laundering, here's the core thing I've seen these Congress people say as their reason to try to either ban or pass negative things about crypto. They always say, oh, this is used for fraud and money laundering. Actually, the exact opposite is true, folks. Crypto is more trackable than cash. Crypto is a better tool in solving money laundering than cash is. Cash is the problem. That's the truth is the exact opposite of what they're saying. Maybe it was created this way by design. I don't know. I'm a digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that 2022, we're going to get a lot more organized on this Ethereum thing until we get our level playing field.